Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna to talk about can I enforce single sign on SSO authentication for a virtual data room. Yes, you can enforce single sign on SSO authentication for a virtual data room VDR to enhance security and user convenience. SSO allows user to log in once and gain access to multiple applications or services without needing to enter their credential repeatedly. Implementing SSO for a PDR can provide several benefits. Enhanced security SSO ensures that users' authentication through a central identity provider (IDP), which can enforce strong authentication methods like multi-factor authentication (MFA). IDP, which can enforce strong authentication methods like multi-factor authentication (MFA). This strengthens the security of your VDR by reducing the risk of password-related breaches. Simplified access. Users only need to remember one set of credentials, making it easier for them to access the VDR and reducing the likelihood of password-related issues such as forgotten passwords. Centralized user management (SSO) allows you to centrally manage users' access and permissions through the identity provider. You can easily add, remove, or modify user accounts and access rights, improving administrative efficiency. Audit trails. SSO solutions often provide detailed audit logs, allowing you to monitor user access and activities within the VDR more effectively. Here's the general steps to enforce SSO authentication for a VDR. Select an identity provider (IDP). Choose an IDP service IDP service that supports SAML and security asserting makeup language or another authentication protocol compatible with your VDR. Configure configure the VDR, login to your VDR admin console and the configure the SSO settings. You will typically need to provide metadata or configuration details from your IDP, such as the IDP's SAML metadata URL. Set up IDP. Set up your chosen IDP with the necessary user accounts and configure authentication policies. You may also need to define attribute mapping to ensure that users' attributes are passed correctly to the video. Test the configuration before enforcing SSO for all users. Truly test SSO configuration to ensure that authentication works as expected. This may involve performing a test login, troubleshooting any issues, and varying user attributes are correctly mapped. Enforce SSO once testing is successful. Enforce SSO for all users. This may involve disabling or limiting other authentication methods like username and password communication changes. Inform your video users about the new SSO authentication method and provide instructions for using it. Monitor and maintain regularly. Monitor users access, review, audit logos, and perform maintenance checks to ensure that SSO remains secure functional. Keep in mind that the specific steps and requirements from implementing SSO may vary depending on the VDR platform you are using. The chosen IDP. Consult the documentation provided by your VDR and IDP for detailed instruction tailored to your setup. Additionally, consider seeking assistance from IT professionals or consultants with expertise in SSO and security if needed. So, I will try to explain this question elaborately twice. So, the question is repeated again, and I hope you all will love this. Yes, you can enforce single sign-on SSO authentication for a virtual data room (VDR) to enhance security and streamline user access. SSO allows users to access multiple applications or services with a single set of login credentials, simplifying the login process and improving security by centralizing authentication. Here's how you can implement SSO for a virtual data room. Select an identity provider IDP. Choose an IDP that supports and SSO protocol you want to use: SAML, OAuth, OpenID Connect. Common IDPs include Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Okta, OneLogin, Pink Identity, and others. The choice of IDP may depend on your organization's existing infrastructures and preference. Configure your virtual data room. Most VDR providers offers the option this typically involves providing the IDPS metadata or configuration settings. Set up user accounts. Create user accounts within your IDP. These accounts will be used for authentication. Users will access the VDR through the IDP, so there's no need for separate VDR specific users name and passwords. Define permissions with your VDR. You can map IDP roles or attributes to specific permissions or access levels within the data room. This way, you can control who has access to what data. Test and monitor before rolling out SSO. Truly test the integration to ensure it works as expected. Access ensures that permission access control are properly configured, provided support and training, educate your users on the new login process, and provide support for any issues this may encounter during the transitions to SSO. Implement additional security measures. While SSO enhance security, consider adding additional security multi-factor authentication MFA to further protect user accounts and data. Plan for account recovery. Have a plan in place for account recovery in case users forget their SSO credentials. Typically, this involves setting up an alternative authentication methods like security question or backup course and questions or backup course regularly review and updates. SSO implementation and ensures it stays aligned with best practice and security standards. Remember that the specific steps and requirements may vary depending on your VDR provider, the IDP you choose, and the protocols you implement. It's important to follow the documentation and guidelines provided by your chosen VDR and IDP setup SSO effectively. Yes, another questions of the can enforce the single sign on SSO authentication for a virtual data room. Yes, you can enforce single sign on SSO authentication for a virtual data room VDR to enhance security and streamline access control. SSO allows users to authenticate once and gain access to multiple applications or systems without the need to enter their credentials repeatedly. This can help ensure that the authorized individuals can access your VDR and simplify user management. Here are the steps to enforce SSO authentication for a VDR. Choose an identity provider IDP. You will need to select an IDP that supports SSO protocols like SAML, security ascertain markup language, or OAuth. Popular IDPs include Microsoft, Azure, configure, configure your VDR for SSO. Your VDR platform should have the capability to integrate with SSO providers. Typically, you will need to access the admin settings or configure stores. Configure IDP. Within your chosen IDP, you will need to configure an application or service for your VDR. This usually involves providing the necessary metadata or endpoints from your VDR platform. The exact steps will depend on your IDP. Map user attributes. Ensure that users attributes, usernames, email addresses from your IDP match those in your VDR. You may need to map these attributes to allow proper user provisioning and identification. Username email addresses from your IDP match those in your VDR. You may need to map these attributes to allow proper user provision and identification. Testing before enforcing SSO for all users. Truly test the SSO integration to ensure that it works as expected, varying that users can log in seamlessly and security. Enforce SSO once testing is successful. You can enforce SSO as a primary authentication method for, from your VDR and you can and users will be redirected to your IDP's login page when attempting to access the VDR. Provisioning and deprovisioning. Implement users provisioning and deprovisioning process to ensure that users are granted access to the VDR when needed and are promptly removed when they no longer require access. Monitoring and maintenance. Regularly monitor your SSO integrate for any issues or anomalies. Ensure that your IDP and VDR are kept up to date with the latest security patches and configuration. Users training. Provide clear instructions to your users on how to use SSO to access the VDR. Make sure they understand the process, are aware of security best practice. By enforcing SSO authentication to your VDR, you can enhance security, improve users' experience, simplify user management. However, the specific steps and options available may vary depending on your VDR platform. Choose an IDP. So it's essential to consult the documentation and support resources provided by both systems for detailed guidance. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I will try to explain about this question deliberately in my another next video. Till then, thank you.